Well, guys, one of the things that's always slowed me down is procrastination. I've always been a procrastinator and I worry about doing the wrong thing because it seems like that everything that I do turns out to be the wrong thing. So after a while, you get to you're afraid to do anything and you try to figure out, what's the best course of action. I will write things down. I will weigh the pros and cons, and I will try to figure out, what is the best course of action. What should I do? And in reality, instead of doing all that, I should just make the decision and move forward. Come hell or high water, right decision, bad decision, I should make the decision and move forward. But it's extremely difficult to do, and I know that it is for a lot of other people also. But if you could just make a decision one way or another and move forward, you'd be a lot better off, and I would be too, than most everyone else because it seems that everyone has problems, making the right decision or making quick decisions. We overthink it, we over procrastinate, and we end up doing nothing most of the time. That's the wrong way to actually move forward. If you want to move forward, you have to actually make decisions and you have to actually do something. But my trouble, like I said, has always been that I procrastinate. I worry too much. I try to weigh the pros and cons. I will write things down. I will write the positives and the negatives, and I will try to figure out what's the best way to go. And I'm usually, a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, I'm completely paralyzed. And I'm afraid to move forward because I'm afraid that if I do, I'll make the wrong decision. And that comes from actually making the wrong decisions a couple of times. I made the wrong decision when I decided to sell my other property and move down here. That was a wrong decision. I made the wrong decision when I made the decision to dump a girl I dated named Amber. And I made the wrong decision. And looking back, I know that now. But when you make those decisions, you can't change those decisions. They're made, they're permanent, and you have to move on. And there's no way to actually know how things are going to turn out when you make certain decisions. But you have to still yet buckle up. You have to decide, I'm going to do this. I'm making this decision. Because sometimes, decisions have to be made. And it's okay to think about it for 24 hours. But after that, you have to make the decision. And if you can't make the decision, after 24 hours, then flip a coin and just go with it. Because sitting idle and not doing anything at all is not the way to go. Because can't move forward that way. If you have a decision to make, you have to make the decision because you can't just sit there and not move forward and not make a decision. You have to actually make a decision. You have to actually stick with it, and you have to actually move forward, right or wrong. And that will put you ahead of most people. And like I said, I've made a couple of really, really bad decisions in my life that's really affected my life. I learned better now. I know what I should have done, but I didn't do it. And I can't go back, so there's no reason to keep, beating myself up about it because it is what it is. It's been done. Like buying this property. I had a property that's already paid for. It was a smaller house. I had more land, and I should have stayed where I was at. But at the time, I thought I was making the right decision to move down here. And I did, and I made the wrong decision. And that has kept me from making decisions, quickly now. I over procrastinate, I overthink it. And sometimes I'm paralyzed because I'm afraid I'll make the wrong decision again. I was dating a girl several years ago, probably about 11 years ago actually. And she was beautiful. She was wonderful. She was special. And at the time, you know, there was an age difference. I was older than she was, and that kind of bothered me. And I made the wrong decision. I broke the relationship up. I made a lot of mistakes in the relationship, and I broke the relationship up. And she went on. She's married to someone else now. She has 3 kids, and here I am. I made the wrong decision. I realize it now, but I can't go back. So you have to realize that you have to make decisions, and sometimes they're wrong decisions. but you have to keep moving forward. And you can't go back, you can't change those decisions. But if you don't make decisions and you don't decide one way or another, you're stuck. And that's a decision in and of itself. And you can't move forward if you don't make decisions. And you make them right or wrong, you think about it for 24 hours. After that, you say fuck it and you move on and do something else. You make a decision, yes or no, and you move on with it, no matter if it's right or wrong. And I've made a couple of wrong decisions in my life, and it's really affected my life. But I've also made, some right decisions. I've actually made more right decisions, correct decisions, than wrong decisions. There just been really a couple of bad decisions I've made that's affected my life, but overall, I've made more right decisions than wrong decisions. Like I said, my old property was paid for. This one's paid for now, finally, but the old one's already paid for. I was better off where I was at, but things was happening at the time, and I thought the best decision was to buy this property, sell my other property, move down here. The girl I dated was wonderful. She was beautiful. She was fantastic. She was sweet. She was awesome. She really was. And to be honest about it, I still care about her. I still love her. But I won't try to get her back or nothing like that because she's married. She has a husband now. She has 3 kids, 2 kids by him and 1 kid by someone else. And, she's made mistakes too. We've all made mistakes. And I wouldn't hurt her. I wouldn't try to upset her life at all, whatsoever at all. But I know looking back now that I made, the wrong decision. Because looking back at the women I've dated, she's been the best one. She's been the best one by far. The other ones I've dated has been pretty much a bunch of self-centered lunatics. That's pretty much the facts of the matter. But I made a decision, and it was the wrong decision, but I have to live with it. But like I said, I've made, overall, the right decisions on most things. Just a couple of things, like 2 I can think of right now, that was really, really bad, major wrong decisions. But they had to be made. And I made the wrong decision. You have to go on with it. You have to live with it. And if you can do that, if you can suck it up and realize I screwed up, it's what it is. I have to keep moving forward. I have to keep going forward. I have to try to keep doing better and learn from my mistakes. Then if you can do that, you can get to a better position than 90% of the population. Because just about everyone makes bad decisions at one point or another. You're not alone. I'm not alone. And most people are hesitant because they've made bad decisions in the past. And even though they know better now and they are more knowledgeable now and have more life experience now, they still, just like myself, are hesitant, to make those wrong decisions. And, some decisions, like the couple of decisions I've made that have really affected my life, have been major, and I have regretted a lot. I've beat myself up over the years because of decisions I've made, but I know that they can't be changed. It is what it is, and you have to accept it. You have to suck it up. You have to let it go, and have to try to move forward. You really do. You have to try to move forward. It's difficult. It really is. It's really difficult. And, I still yet think about it, and it still just eats me up right here, some of the decisions I've made. And knowing that if I'd made other decisions, my life would have been a whole lot different. It really would have had. I have gotten relationships, for example, with toxic women that were completely useless and worthless. And I look back, and I had one that was fantastic. And I screwed it up. Made a decision because of the age difference to end the relationship. But looking back, she was fantastic. She really was. And it still bothers me, but you got to move forward. And I'm getting better. Have learned from my mistakes, and I'm moving forward. And hopefully, you can move forward too. Don't eat yourself up because you're a mistake, because we've all done it. Like I said, I've made huge mistakes too, to be exact. There have been other minor mistakes, but those two major mistakes, and knowing I've made two major mistakes in my life has made me hesitant and made me more of a procrastinator about making future decisions. But you can't do that because you have to realize that none of us know everything. None of us know the future. We operate on emotions, we operate on what we think is right at the time, and you know, like with the girl I'm talking about, I didn't do it for me. I thought it was the best decision for her. I loved that girl at the time, still do. It's just what it is. But I made the decision at the time because I loved her. And I thought that it was the best decision and the best thing for her. But seeing where she is now, seeing where I am now, it wasn't the right decision. But it was made. And I have to accept it. I have to move on because it is what it is. Times change. Things are different now than what they were then. And you make a decision, you accept it, and you move on. And you can look back on it, you can realize I screwed it up, but you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep making decisions. You can't keep procrastinating. You have to make decisions very quickly because life changes. It really does. So, if you have a decision that you need to make, a major decision, think about it for 24 hours, make the decision, and come hell or high water, fuck it, make the decision, do what needs to be done, accept it, move forward like a man. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. I thank you all for being here at the View from Appalachia. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.